If you always wanted to work in a NICU and you want to know the difference between adults and NICU, then this video is just for you. It's your girl, Nurse Leisha. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. And today we're going to talk about NICU versus adults. Don't you want to know? I'm sure you have been thinking about being a NICU nurse, but you just don't know how it's going to be like. And I understand because I was there too. I was recently a NICU nurse. Now I am an IR nurse. And that's another video to tell you how I like it and what's new. But for now, let's talk about the differences. I have my handy dandy notebook, so you should sit down and write these down. All right, so okay, so first difference, let's talk about blood products. So in NICU, everything is in syringes, so blood products are given in a syringe by itself, because everything matters what goes into the baby. You don't want fluid overload when it comes to babies. Versus adults, you have your blood, wide tube with your saline. So if there's a reaction, you flush saline into it. But babies, we don't do that. We want very little fluids going in, only what they need. So usually this is like 18 mLs, 30 cc's, 20 cc's. It all depends on the size of the baby, the doctor, the weight, so many factors. So that's it with blood products. Let's talk about medications. Adults, you have your MAR. Anything on there, you just go ahead and you give it to them. There's no math involved. NICU, there is math involved. Everything is dosing weights. You're using the baby weights to calculate everything. So when it comes to IV fluids, just medications and syringes, medication and G-tubes, whatever it is, everything is calculated to make sure, you want to make sure whatever pharmacy is giving you, you do the math to make sure that is the correct dose. Remember, everything is weight-based in the NICU. Same thing in adults. You go weight-based based on certain drips, but NICU, everything is weight-based. So make sure you got your math on pack if you want to be in the NICU. And as always, if you guys feel like there's any extra tips that you guys want to share on here, add it in the comments because people want to know. I may not hit every key points in this video. I will try my best, but share your knowledge with me and I share my knowledge with you. It's a family up in here. So that's that. So always be cautious when it comes to babies. Let's talk about ventilators. So in ICU, you have several ventilators in several settings. NICU, same thing. So you have your oscillators, which is different because it's like a machine that vibrates the baby. So on the monitor, you won't see respirations. And how do you know if the baby is properly oxygenated? You'll see for chest wiggle. So when you do handoff at bedside with babies and you're looking at the ET tube to make sure that it is in the right place, you're also looking at the chest wiggle, which I'll post a video of how oscillated look. And these babies, they're very positional. You don't move them much at all because that machine is usually on super sick babies. You also have your high frequency jet and you also have your conventional vent when it comes to babies. The settings are totally different, but it's pretty much the same thing. The baby is still getting pressure, but it's a little different. I am not a respiratory therapist, so I'm not gonna go deep into that. But just know the ventilators are a little different compared to adults. Let's talk about assessments. So when you get your assessments, you go to your adult, you do your head to toe assessment. Babies is the same thing, but you have to add a few factors in. You're doing diaper change, you're doing head circumference, girth measurements. All these matters because especially when it comes to the head, babies are prone to hydrocephalus and other things as well. So you want to measure their head to make sure that it didn't grow a centimeter within 3 hours. So that's another thing. We do touch times when it comes to babies compared to adults. You just go in when it's time to meds or whenever they need you because they can speak what they need. Babies, we do touch time, and it really depends on their gestational age. Babies that are smaller, less than 1 kilo, we don't really touch them as much. Minimum touch But when we do our touchdown, we're changing diaper, we're repositioning them, because babies can get wounds, very rare. But the smaller babies are very much at risk for it because they're small. So keep that in mind. We also do bath time. So some hospitals have different bath days. My hospital has 2 bath days of the week, but it depends on your baby gestational age. So if your baby is, I know our hospital have, if they were less than 48 kilos, they were getting, well, I think 44 kilos. If they were less than 44 weeks, they were getting bathed twice a week, which were, I believe, Sundays and Thursdays. Why am I acting like I wasn't in NICU? And then if they were greater than 44, they get bathed daily, because bigger babies hold a lot more dirt and everything else. But it's really up to you. If you feel like your baby is dirty, you can go ahead and clean your baby up and take a bath. Like, it's nothing to give a baby a bath. Same thing. So let's talk about, make sure I didn't miss anything here. Let's talk about vitals. Remember, vitals are totally opposite. And I'm going to put a set of adult vitals here and NICU vitals here, so that way you can see adult to NICU, how is it different. It's going to be hard to post NICU vital signs because it goes by their gestational age. A baby that's smaller, blood pressure may be lower, but it depends on the baby. A baby heart rate greater than 200, you got to see if the baby's hot. What's going on? Why is your heart rate? Is there an infection coming? What temperature is the same as adults? We don't bathe a baby, at least for my hospital. A temp has to be 97.7 or higher to bathe them or to feed them, because they're at risk for something called NEC. I ain't gonna get too deep into it, but I'm gonna post what it is here. I'm not gonna give any numbers anymore, because when it comes to babies, vital signs, there's no setting stone. It's based on their age. Okay? Don't shoot the messenger, but that's just what it is. When it comes to babies, babies are a lot more fragile. You can get babies this small. I'll show you a picture of a small baby that I'll look for on Google. You can get babies this big. You can get sick babies. All these pictures I'm gonna post here is to give you an idea. You can get babies that are super small, that are super sick, ET tube, a whole bunch of drips. So it can be a lot. So make sure you're emotionally prepared to work in the NICU. But otherwise, it will be a field that you love. Last but not least, let's talk about floating. So NICU nurses do tend to float. You will float to PICU, which is a pediatric intensive care unit. You'll float to cardiac units. They'll float you around pediatric wise. Now, PICU nurses hate the NICU nurses, and let me tell you why. Because NICU nurses, there's a lot of things we don't do. We don't pull from PIC lines. That's another thing. And PICU they can, but the baby's PIC lines, well, their neo-PICs are so tiny, you can mess things up. So we don't pull blood from their PIC line. So blood is usually a heel stick. It can be a venipuncture if they're doing cultures or the doctor requests that, or PT-INR is usually cultures, but everything else are heel sticks. Compared to adults, you can pull from your PIC line, you can do venipunctures as well, but babies is very particular. What else? I think I pretty much covered the most important things. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like it, give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, let me know questions, things you want to know. I love NICU questions. I love my babies, and I'm sure you guys are going to love that feel as well. As always, have a blessed day.